Well, the local communities in the greater West Bloomfield area would not be the destination for so many people looking for a peaceful and safe place to live if it weren't for our great teams of law enforcement. Joining us now is the head of one of those great teams, Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. How you doing today?
Very good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So, Chief, unfortunately, in your area right now, there's a lot of traffic issues that are going on that are causing a bit of a headache, particularly on Cass Lake Road and Orchard Lake Road. First of all, how have those construction areas been doing? How are people driving right now in those areas?
Um, Slowly, a lot of the times, we're getting stuck at basically all three ends at certain times of the day down at Commerce Road and Orchard Lake Road in the mornings and the afternoons with school pickup and drop off at the old Abbott School that's now Roosevelt Elementary, which is actually in Orchard Lake. Then if you head northbound or eastbound up to Telegraph and Middle Belt, to Orchard Lake between Middle Belt and Telegraph, that's been getting backed up because there's been an ongoing construction project there for quite a while. And then as you want to head north out of town into up Cass Lake Road, you can't get past Waterford. There's a bridge out that's been out since they've been working on it since August 15th, the Culvert construction project. And that is the latest word we have is that's expected to wrap up by October 13th, I believe it is. And the some of the people have complained that the markings for that don't seem to indicate the road is out. And the problem is if they turn down Cass Lake Road or turn up Cass Lake Road, it's a 2.5 mile round trip to go down there, find out you can't get through, and then come back. So some of the residents in Waterford have been complaining to us because people come down, turn around in the subdivisions back there, or they think they can find another way around the the out roadway, which none of those subdivisions have a way around. They all end at the lake or circle back to Cass Lake Road. And so if you go in there, there's no sneaky way around the construction site, and it's 2.5 miles there and back. So don't turn down Cass Lake Road from Orchard Lake Road if you want to get all the way through to Waterford. And it is a construction project that is in Waterford. And if you have any questions, check with the Road Commission of Oakland County. They're in charge of that project. Check their website. There's a contact number for them there. And, the construction just keeps going on. And certain times traffic is very slow through Keego Harbor into Orchard Lake and into Sylvan Lake.
So, Chief, I will admit that I am one of the guilty persons who tried to go. My favorite do-it-yourself car wash is right there at Cass Lake and Cass Elizabeth. And so I tried to go there like a month ago, and I got all the way. But there is a sign right when you turn off Orchard Lake Road that says road closed. But I was like, well, that's not going to apply to me. And then I got all the way there. I mean, but there is no other way around? I mean, I ended up having to go all the way to or back to Orchard Lake and then to Telegraph and then to M59. Is that the only way to get around to that area?
The two ways around are Orchard Lake up to Telegraph, up to M59 or Voorhees. The secondary way is Orchard Lake down to Commerce Road, over to Hiller, up to Cooley Lake Road, and back around to Elizabeth Lake Road, which both of them are taking you pretty much out of your way. And we all are looking forward to this road construction wrapping up on Cass Lake Road. My officers and myself are taking the roundabout way to get to work now.
But October 13th, today's the 11th, so it's projected to be finished by Thursday. Is that what the projection is?
That was our last update last week. I have not looked at their website yet today. I should have checked it before I came on. But the last update we got was October 13th, approximately. They did use the word approximately on the notice they put out, so that could be, approximately a couple more days. I'm not sure.
Well, I will try to wash my car on Saturday, and we'll see how it goes. I'll send you a text one way or the other.
Hopefully, just not to take any blame off us. A lot of people have complained to us about the signs not giving a good indication that the road is closed ahead. And, it's the signs are put up by the Road Commission of Oakland County or their contractors. And it's not something for the police department to come in and move the signs around even though we can see that it's not always marked very well. Especially if you turn quickly off Orchard Lake Road, you may very well miss the sign that says road is closed or the bridge is out because of the way they're set up. But we can't move the signs around because we don't know exactly what is what's going on at the far end up in Waterford. Something might have been open, and we don't want to mess with their signage.
Yeah. I mean, and we're getting close. We're getting close to a finish line, so everyone just needs a couple more weeks of patience, and I think we're going to be okay.
We are hoping so. We all want that opened again.
So,
and
Chief,
when it opens,
go ahead.
Yeah, when it opens, just remember to keep the speed limit at 35. Don't start racing through there anymore. We still have a lot of residents down there.
So, Chief, recently one of your officers received a very special honor. Officer Nora Downs of the Keego Harbor Police Department, along with Officer Garrett Malott of the Orchard Lake Police Department, were honored with Valor Awards by the 100 Club of Detroit. The awards were presented to the Detroit Athletic Club. I saw you were there. Could you tell us the story about what Officer Downs and Officer Malott did and what led them to be honored in this way?
Sure. They did a great job. There was a vehicle pursuit that occurred that ended in, I'm not sure, it was West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, right at Hiller and Commerce Road. The fleeing vehicles crashed into a innocent subject at the intersection, and the driver got out and fled on foot. Officer Malott from Orchard Lake Police Department was the first one to find him a few houses away. He'd run through some yards, and Officer Malott confronted him. He started fighting with Officer Malott. Officer Downs was the next officer on the scene. She got up to him, and they fought a guy who was trying to kill him. He attacked Officer Malott with some tree branches he had picked up. Then, in fighting with both of them, he gouged at both their eyes. He attempted to disarm both of them, grabbing at their handguns, trying to pull them out of their holsters, tried to take the taser away from them. And both officers had to go hand-to-hand combat to bring this subject down. He even actually tried to wrap the radio microphone cord around Officer Downs' neck to strangle her with it. The officers, with their tenacity, their training, and their will to fight and live, were able to successfully take him into custody. And for what they did, they were honored by the 100 Club of Detroit, and it was a very good valor honor for them.
Wow. So was there any kind of body cam or police vehicle footage of that? I could imagine that would be crazy. What that scene was?
Unfortunately, our officer doesn't have body cam. I don't know about Orchard Lakes, and the in-car camera doesn't get it because it ended up a few houses away in a side yard somewhere that was not in front of where the police car stopped and the officers ran from. So unfortunately, there's no video of it. But once again, they did a great job in bringing this fleeing suspect into custody, while protecting themselves as they did it.
With that, Chief, your department recently posted on Facebook a reminder to folks to wear your seatbelt and to keep your children buckled in their car seats. Is this still an issue with a lot of folks? Do you see a lot of people not wearing their seatbelts and having kids in the vehicle that are not properly restrained in their car seats?
They're doing a pretty good job with the kids. I think it's been drilled into them, and Michigan's usually had a pretty high compliance rate for seatbelt wearing, but there's still the people out there that for one reason or another decide they're not going to wear one. And it is a primary violation that if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you can be pulled over and issued a ticket for it. And if there's something else going on in your car with, open alcohol or a weapon that shouldn't be there, if they find it during a stop for a seatbelt violation, you could get yourself in even more trouble. But the important thing is buckle up. Seatbelts do save lives. They saved mine in a crash before, and I know a bunch of officers whose lives they've saved. So I'm a full advocate in seatbelts, front seat, back seat, proper child restraints in terms of booster seats or car seats, front seat, and if they're rear seat facing, just make sure you follow the instructions on those car seats. It's very important to keep the kids and yourself buckled up.
All right, Chief, before we let you go, anything else you wanted to mention real quick?
I don't really have any new news. We just have the construction issues we're dealing with, and we've talked that one to death. But I wish everybody a safe fall. It's my personal favorite time of year. We got football and great weather, and the leaves turning. So if you get a chance, get out and enjoy this good weather before the winter comes.
Well, Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to thank you and your entire team for all the hard work you do there.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Have a great day.
Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll check in with local singer Byron Cancelmo. That's next here on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on The MegaCast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch The MegaCast, weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV 89.3 and streaming on MyMyTV.com. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nilan. Well, if you grew up listening and loving the tunes of Tom Jones, Karen Carpenter, Neil Diamond, and Elvis, we have just the event for you coming up this weekend in Keego Harbor. Joining us now is one of the stars of that upcoming show, Byron Cancelmo. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me, of course.
So let's go back a little bit in time. Whenever we have artistic folks on, I always like to ask them, what was your musical inspiration? When did you start singing?
Well, it was from the sound of my mother's voice, just whistling and humming melodies when I was 2 years old. And I think I was about 2 in the backseat of the car in the booster, just loving the sound of the human voice. So that kind of captured my attention. It was sort of I think a natural thing for me just to start singing. I used to be a toddler and sing in the living rooms when my parents had company, and my brother was in a garage band, and I would always bug them to get on the microphone and sing with them. The early inspiration, musical. I like the voices of a lot of female artists, actually, like Patti LaBelle, Barbra Streisand, artists like that had big melodies, big strong endings. I sang in rock bands and alternative rock bands, so I sang everything from very melodic to very heavy metal, classic rock. The band Kiss. I really appreciated Kiss because of the frontman Paul Stanley and their antics, how thrilled the crowds always seem to be, and how happy everyone seems to be. The music was very happy and fun. So it segued right into Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, and Elvis, because they're fun, happy, big, strong endings of some of their ballads, and that's right up my alley. I just love it. It's part of me.
So you mentioned some of the artists that you perform. You do a lot of Neil Diamond, Elvis, but that Tom Jones, when you hear you sing Tom Jones, it sounds like Tom Jones is singing. Could you talk a little bit about, did he have any inspiration on you, or did you just kind of embrace him later in life?
Well, I didn't really follow Tom Jones. I sang in a singing competition back in 2014. It was called National Singing Star. And I went in and sang All of Me. It was a cover song. And I ended up getting into the contest and getting all the way through to the very end. And I asked the director of the talent show what would be a really big song for me to sing, because I really wanted to win it. And she said a song from Tom Jones called I Who Have Nothing. And I listened to that, and I just couldn't believe my ears. And then I started listening to Tom Jones more and more and more. Of course, I studied the song. Ultimately, I won the singing contest, I think in part from singing that song. But I just got immersed. And since 2014 is really when I've been studying Tom Jones. Everything from his interviews, his early shows, when he got carried away with his, kind of over the top sexuality and his that back in the 70s, I think everyone's got a little carried away. But I appreciated his early years in his late 60s and early 70s when he was just really belting. He had a show called This Is Tom Jones, and I watched several episodes of that, just watching his manners and watching his voice, his throat structure, and how he's singing and projecting. And it was
kind of there are some similarities to the way I sing naturally. So it was a pretty pretty easy segue for me to sing his songs. They're complex. I mean, they're semi-operatic, and there's big variety of melodies going on with his songs, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. When I do yard work or drive around in the tractor, I'm listening to Tom Jones.
So this Saturday, a chance for people to see some Tom Jones, see some other songs you're going to perform with your wife Michelle and some other folks. A big Sweetest Day performance. Can you tell everybody about when and where they can take this show in?
Yeah, so Santia Banquet Center is next to Gino's Restaurant on Cass Elizabeth. And it's a newly renovated banquet facility. Irene and Gino were kind enough to have me do my very first show there when I was just beginning to do these sort of shows with the band. And I remember, I think it was back in 2015 or 16, we did our very first show there. So we are actually, this is a farewell show for me. I'm doing the very last show of this kind on the west side at Santia, and then the next one will be in April on the east side of town. It's hard to keep a 12-piece band going and do as many shows and hold on, and pay full 100% focus to my all-day full-time job. And I can get into that a little bit later if you want to hear more about that. But the show this Saturday is very special. The seats are selling very quickly, especially as we enter into the final week leading up to it. I'm getting orders daily. It is a 200-seat capacity, and we're almost there. So I think there's like 4 more tables left in table seat 10. I did enter a show-only price of $35. It's a full menu. It's going to be buffet style. There'll be chicken piccata. There'll be salmon, fettuccine alfredo, salads, cheeses, desserts, coffee, tea. There'll be a beef carving station. And so you'll be fed well. I invited a friend, Donnie Rod, who's a Rod Stewart impersonator. I always like to bring in local artists to have a little bit of fun at our shows. So this time I'm bringing in a Rod Stewart impersonator to kind of carry out a fun halftime. I'm going to do a 2-hour show. Doors will be 6:30, 7 o'clock. Dinner, strolling buffet, and I'll keep my eye on the crowd once everyone's had their food and they're kind of segued with the dessert. I'm going to start the show, and Michelle will come out, my wife, and begin with some Karen Carpenter, and then we'll move into the main show with a mixture. My wife's singing some other songs from other artists. I'll be singing Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, Elvis Presley, Engelbert Humperdinck. And it's just going to be an absolute blast. The band is on fire. It's a 12-piece band with backing vocalists. I have a very high-end sound system and high-end sound engineer, so it's going to sound very, very good. And we're also going to be respectful of noise levels. We're going to make sure it's a nice, full, rich sound to carry throughout the room. So it will not disappoint.
Well, Byron, I'm going to wish you folks great luck this weekend. Enjoy the show. And if folks want to come out and enjoy it at the Santia Hall, they can just give them a call for reservations, correct?
Actually, yeah, they wouldn't need, they shouldn't call. It's actually all online. They can call for sure, and then they'll just explain where to go. But if you could post this post reel, or I can say it now, it's the website address. It's sweetest October 15th .eventbrite.com, and it's basically the word sweetest, OCT15.eventbrite.com, and Bright is spelled B-R-I-T-E. So sweetest, OCT15.eventbrite, B-R-I-T-E.com, and you click that link, and you're going to see everything you're going to need to see. There are discounts for tables of 8 and tables of 10. I'd like to see all our neighborhood friends there. This is going to be a very special show. It'll be emotional for me. It's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much, you guys, for supporting us all throughout the years.
Well, thank you, Byron, and it's going to be a great show this weekend. That's going to do it for us here on The Splash Live. I am Larry Nilan, West Bloomfield. We will see you tomorrow.